right, now we're going to the NFC West. In first place, obviously, the San Francisco 49ers, defending NFC champion, 13-3. Buy, sell, or hold. I'm going to sell because much like what we've talked about before, it's going to be really hard to have 13 wins in the NFC this year. Everybody's going to be a lot more competitive. But it's not a negative sell. I still see them. I think they're going to repeat and win the NFC West. It's going to be contentious with the Seahawks, but I do see them winning again. And despite his bad performance at the end of the Super Bowl, I still really like Jimmy G. So I have the Niners winning 11.
11?
11, yeah. And Brandon, what do you think?
I think the 49ers, I'm going to actually pick the 49ers to get second place in the division. I think they're going to get 11 or 12. I really like Seattle. I think Seattle would have won the division last year had it not been for their running back injuries.
Yeah,
it's really a toss-up between
They're
those
both.
two.
I mean, San Francisco is going to be really good. That defense is still mean.
They're
young.
They're
get to the
thing.
quarterback.
They're very young.
You know, they trade DeForest Buckner and add another, lottery defensive lineman to go back to that D line.
To me, it felt like they overachieved last year. They really, especially how they performed in the Super Bowl. But
yeah, they did lose some offense. Debo Samuel's hurt. I don't know if he's out for the whole season or not. And then you lost Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah,
they lost one of their running backs. Their offense, they got George Kittle, but what else are they going to have this year? So their
wide receivers.
Their offense is a little bit suspect, and that's the only concern I have. I still think they're going to be really good because they're not going to allow very many points.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I feel like they're going to. I agree. They're really going to rely on that defense.
They're going to be a lot like New England was last year with just a dominant defense,
right?
To where your offense doesn't need to score a lot, even when you don't have a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler.
I'm going to sell, but slightly. I again, a lot like what you're saying, Jake. I just don't think it's possible to get 13 wins for it. I mean, somebody might get 12, but I think 13 is a stretch. I do like the Seahawks as well, but I think the Seahawks are more. Their team is such in flux, and the big continuity is huge between Wilson and Carroll. But I think it's a lot of Wilson's, Carroll, and chutzpah, and then Wilson's he's probably the most underrated football player in the NFL.
I have said it multiple times on this podcast. I'm pretty sure Brandon said it as well. If Lamar Jackson didn't have the season last year, I think that Russell Wilson had.
They won 11 games because of Russell Wilson.
I think
easily.
he was a legit MVP.
But who's their running back? I mean, is it Metcalf that is out there?
Yeah,
he's came on.
He had a great
Tyler
rookie
Lockett had a really good year last year. I don't know. I think even their Will Dissly, some dude tight end, he even had a decent couple of games. But I think they will challenge. But I think San Francisco still wins the division, just not with 13 wins, 10 or 11.
All right.
But I do like the Seahawks too a lot.
All right. So second place was the Seahawks, 11-5 last year. I'm going to hold. I think that for everything you just said. I mean, they need to get Wilson a solid running back, and I think that they need to get him just a little bit more weapons. Because while Metcalf had a great rookie year last year, and I think he'll have a good year this year, you're just going to need a little bit more. So I think that they're going to have the same record as the Niners, but the Niners will win the division by beating them. Yeah. So I'm going to hold on the Seahawks. And I think I actually jumped the order. You were supposed to go first. But so you have the Seahawks. You're going to hold, buy, sell, hold?
I'm gonna go ahead and kind of hold, sell, buy a little bit. I know it's
pick all three.
I think
Make a decision.
I think they'll do 10 or 11 wins. Also, I think
hold?
I think they are gonna. It is gonna come down to tiebreakers. Here's the thing: is when you have Pete Carroll and then you got Russell Wilson playing for him. Honestly, you're gonna get at least 10 wins. I mean, they know how to fill their team with starters enough, even though they don't really have a pretty much a no-name defense now. They're still a good defense. And again, Wilson is just really good. And the only way I could see if nobody really emerges at wide receiver for San Francisco, I could see Seattle winning the division, but I think it's a tough call. Either one of those teams could win the division, but I'm sticking with San Francisco as the division winner, and I'm going to hold on Seattle. But they will make the playoffs with probably 10 or 11 wins.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying them. I like them a lot. I think 11, 12 maybe even for Seattle. I think that they are the best team in the best division in football. I think the NFC West is deep.
Yeah.
But I think Seattle is really good. I really like Seattle this year.
All right, third place, the Los Angeles Rams, 9-7 last year. Buy, sell, or hold, Tyler.
I'm going to sell. I think the Arizona Cardinals have improved a lot.
Oh.
And I think the Cardinals will probably be the third in the division just because they spent a lot of money on a couple of free agent guys and then gave that huge contract to Aaron Donald and then Jared Goff also. And they really put themselves in a bind. I know because the Vikings did it with Kirk Cousins. You can reward your guy all you want, but if you ain't got the money to sign other guys or keep your draft picks that pan out, and then you pretty much like just dismantle your offensive line one guy a year for the last 3 years, that dominant offensive line. You're not going to be the same team. And I think McVay is a paper tiger. I really do. I think he got lucky that first year, and every year has proven to me that he is not a head coach with consistency. So I think I see them 7-9.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna sell, and I'm along the lines where you are. I think that Cliff Kingsbury in the Cardinals are gonna.
And I don't like Kingsbury.
Trend upwards,
yeah.
Especially because they performed a robbery on the Texans in the offseason.
No kidding.
But I'm going to sell, I would say 8-8, 7-9 range, and very similar to what you're saying. I agree that I think LA made a mistake and got all these guys, free agents and trades, and put everything they had into getting to winning Super Bowl 52.
And then they lost.
Or 53, sorry. And then they lost, and I don't think they should have paid Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff had a good season getting to the Super Bowl, but I don't know if he was – I think they were a little premature on giving him the money they did, and I think that – this is what I worry about with Tampa Bay, because when you do have this win-now mentality – you do put yourself in that hole of you get all these great players, but you have such a
could
small
screw your franchise
window.
for like 8 years doing that.
You have a very tiny window to win, and that's what I worry about Tampa Bay. But I would say the same in the Rams, and I think they're back to trending downward, and they should lose a win for those god awful uniforms. So I'm selling on the Rams. Brandon?
No, I got the Rams at 9-7 again. Not good.
Hold.
Not good enough for the playoffs, but they're still good.
Mm.
All right, let's move down to the Cardinals. 5-10-1 last year, and Brandon, buy, sell, or hold.
No, like I said, I think this is the best division in football. I have Arizona at 8-8. I think that they're going to be 500. I think that's fourth place in the NFC West is 8-8.
Yeah,
which is impressive.
Yeah.
But I think that I think Kyler Murray played very well last year, and he's only going to get better in his second season.
And now he's got
and
fun
when
to
you
watch.
add a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, who is a top 4 top 4 receiver in the league, you're going to get better. He made Deshaun Watson really good. Not that Deshaun Watson is bad. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But he helped Deshaun Watson be very, very, very good. Which is he's always open. He's got great hands. And that's going to really help Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And they got Chandler Jones. They're going to rush the passer. I think I like him a lot.
Yeah,
8-8.
I agree. I think that I'm going to buy them as well. I think we're all going to buy them because I think that DeAndre Hopkins signing alone was the move that Kyler Murray needed. Because I think Kyler Murray played a hell of a lot better than I expected him to in his rookie year, and I actually think that the Cardinals performed a lot better than I expected them to for Cliff Kingsbury's first year as well. So I would buy them. I see them going 9-7. 8-8, 9-7 in that realm. I think is pretty spot on, Brandon. So I'm going to buy as well.
I'm gonna buy. Yeah, big fan of the Cardinals. I think they do improve to about 8-8. I don't think they can make the playoffs. In that division is just really, really tough. They got arguably the best backfield duo in Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds in the league. That trade last year midseason for Drake when Johnson went down, I mean, that was inspired, and it made them better over the last couple games of the season. Kyler Murray is one of the most fun players to watch. He is just really when he's like running the ball and then he just sits down and avoids like a sack and getting hit, which is what you need to do when you're that size.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see. I love watching him. I am bullish on the Arizona Cardinals.
By the way, that Kyler Murray, he runs fast.
Who was that? Who was that guy that they got in the draft? That their first round pick. He's that do everything guy from. He can play like every position on the defense.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, that's a huge. I think honestly he's the next piece for their defense. That's just going to make them like holy crap. Like wow.
As we wrap up the NFC West, I was just going to say it's funny because the Cardinals are very similar to the Niners, but in the opposite direction. Where the Niners have such a young, talented, deep defense, I would say the same thing for the Cardinals. They have a very young, talented, deep offense. So
yeah,
NFC West is probably going to be the most fun division. I don't know. I think the NFC South and the NFC West are going to be very competitive divisions.
Oh yeah,
and it'll be interesting.